This week, it's a one-on-one with Di and I. A lot of self-discovery in this one. We talk about my experience on the Icehouse's Owner Management Programme and all the lessons I learned. A reminder to keep an eye out for the listener question brought to you by Xero. Accidental Business Owners is sponsored by Icehouse. If you're a business owner who's looking to grow, connect with other ambitious owners, work alongside some of the best in the business, you need to check out the Icehouse's Owner Management Programme. It's 5 months of learning alongside other business owners, challenging and moving on the right thing, getting the tools to grow, not just the business, but yourself as a leader. I'm currently on the course and it's a game changer, as you'll hear. I cannot recommend it highly enough. If you're running a business and want to push it to the next level, check out the program that helped hundreds of Kiwi businesses achieve more. To find out more, check out theicehouse.co.nz/OMP. Enjoy.
Hey, Steve.
Hey, Di, how's it going?
Oh, bloody marvellous. Thank you so much for asking.
You're welcome.
I've been in Hamilton for like 5 days now. I just feel like I'm part of the furniture.
I know. You've been in Hamilton without seeing us.
I know. It's so weird. Everyone's like, are you seeing the boys today? No, they're not in Hamilton.
Yeah, but here we are. It's been a while.
It feels like it's been a while.
Yeah, the way we release these is the last episode you heard on ABO, we recorded like 2 months ago.
Yeah, it's a long time ago.
And it was about the branding stuff. And we'd kind of like got through that and made our decision, you know, we'd kind of like made our peace with it. But we were encouraging all this feedback from listeners on what you think about it. And I was like, oh, I'd moved on. Yeah.
Have you? Have you moved on?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh,
well,
really?
we parked it.
Yeah, we parked
again,
it.
we haven't really spoken.
No. I think that I always think that there's an age, stage and phase. And I think in my head, we've parked that for next year. It's like there's a bigger piece of work there. Not so much a bigger piece of work, but there's a conversation that we're going to have. And when the time and space is right.
Yeah, I think that's a better way of rephrasing it. I haven't made a definitive, it's parked for now. We're very happy with current Between Two Beers. Stephen Seamus from Between Two Beers. Yeah.
Nobody panicked. Man, it really got the old engagement going though, didn't it?
It did. Yeah. People, very polarizing too. I should say right down. Like I got a lot of messages from people feel very strongly one way or another.
Yeah.
It's a sign of a good talker.
Yeah. I love that. We got quite an engaged audience, haven't you?
Yes. Yep. And
invested.
Yeah.
They're quite invested.
And there's sort of three different shows. Like some people are fans of all three. Some people just love the long form episodes. Some people love the ambassadors, behind the scenes. And some people are just here for the business.
Yeah,
so
I know. I've got a few of those that are like, I don't listen to anything else, just the accidental business owners. I'm like, you're welcome.
Yeah. Here we are.
Love it. So what's been going on in your world?
Well, I've been on the Owner Management Programme. We spoke about this a couple of months ago, and I'd finished block 1, and I've just finished block 3. So for those that didn't listen, it cost $36,000 to go on this course. Let me be very clear. Between Two Beers did not pay $36,000 for me to go on the course. It was part of a contra deal with the Icehouse. And I sort of spoke about the first block, which was in Auckland, which I got a lot from. Second block was in Christchurch. So you go away for 3 days a month, and there's 5 of them. And that was great as well. But the most recent one I've just finished in Auckland, I feel like was a bit of a game changer. And they say this was kind of the heart of the OMP. And there's quite a lot that goes into it. And yeah, there's heaps of reasons why I think it was cool. And I'm looking forward to chatting about them.
It's interesting because I've noticed a significant difference in your behaviour and the way that you show up between block 1 and block 3, you know, before you actually went on this last one. So, you know, I know that you prefaced it by saying, you know, Between Two Beers weren't in a position to, you know, pay the $36,000. But from my point of view, just in that couple of months from block 1 to the, you know, just before you went on block 3, the difference in the way that you showed up was like, all of my dreams have come true. I mean, I guess because I was super interested to see how it was going to impact you, and it's been quite noticeable in the way that you've showed up. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here for you to tell us what your takeaway is.
Yeah, no, but it is interesting because it is like small changes over time. And I think what I'll talk about is actually just getting confident because for the longest time, we've been doing this for nearly 2 years. Like, I don't know what I don't know, and then I'm starting to kind of know it, and you become aware of it, and then you start to know it, and then you get confident in it.
Yep.
So the pieces are all starting to come together.
The thing with you that a lot of people lack, but you definitely don't lack. We talk about confidence, and people say, well, if I feel confident, I'll do it. But that's not the thing we need. We need courage. Courage builds capability. Capability builds confidence. And you've always had the courage. You've never lacked courage. You've always been like, well, I'll figure it out. Even when you don't even know what the job is, you'll still be like, but I can do it. It's like, oh dear God. I remember about this time last year, we had a conversation. We were arguing about, the CEO type role. And I was like, but you don't even know what the job is. It's okay. I'll figure it out. And you do. Yeah. But I think that the OMP course has taught you a lot about what you don't know.
Mm. So on this course, to qualify for it, you've got to have a business that does over 3 mil a year in annual revenue. Mm-hmm. So there's 22 very impressive people, and I've had some great conversations and met some awesome people on it. And so I want to start talking about Block 3. We did this I think it's called 360-degree leadership profile, leadership behavior profile. And so I'll start by talking about how it sort of played out in the class. So first of all, they asked you to write down like what you think your strengths are. So I put emotional intelligence, I put forward thinking, positive, I said listening, I said people trust me, I said lead by example. And then they ask you to write down your weaknesses. And I said structuring team, creating process, prioritizing my time, financial leadership, and knowing my numbers. And so what this leadership behavior profile is, it measures your behaviors against the 8 factors in the leadership behavior profile. So these are values champion, team linker, strategic thinker, change facilitator, people motivator, responsibility giver, competent performer, situational decision maker. And it sends out a questionnaire to 8 people in your circle that work with you or are direct reports, and it canvasses them for their opinions on your leadership. So we send it to our advisory group, everyone here, and then a bunch of people that we work really closely with across editing and production and help.
And if you're one of these people that gets this questionnaire, then you get your popcorn out and go, whoa, what's coming?
Yeah. So it's your perceived behavior in relation to the 8 factors and how your team sees you. So my results, I was in the lower normal range for everything. Other ratings, so everyone else in the team's ratings were higher than my own because you self-rate as well in every category except for one, which was change facilitator. And the biggest gap was people motivator. So I rated myself lower and the team rated me higher. That was the biggest gap. So the results were actually pretty good when I sort of like reflected on it, the next day, but I got fixated on one marker who ranked me low in a lot of categories and it sent me for a spin. But I wasn't the only one. So I'm talking, we're in this room and there's 22 people and everyone just goes quiet. You get handed out this booklet and you get your results. And for like 15 minutes, there's not a sound in the room as everyone's just kind of like reading over their results.
So what was the first thing that you went down the rabbit hole on to do with this one rater?
Well, I just noticed that there was a pattern with one of them was rating me a lot lower than everyone else.
Yeah.
So
where did you go with that? Like, what was your thought?
Who is that person?
Yeah, so and then just sort of point this out on page 7 of the report. How to respond to feedback. 1, respect the anonymity of your raters.
So all I was doing for, I reckon, the next hour, because afterwards they like continued teaching stuff, and I was just thinking, is that them? Why do they hate me? That doesn't make sense. And they're just trying to figure out who the one low rater was.
Just stop for 2 seconds. The first thing that came out of your mouth then was, why do they hate me? Was this an exercise in like or dislike?
No. So that's representative of the spin, of the hour of spin where I lost my head for a little bit. And reflecting on it the next day, it was all like totally normal and fine.
You still want to know who it is though, don't you?
I do, but I want to talk through that because I think it is kind of important.
Okay.
So I want to read you some of the like descriptors and the ratings, right? So one of them is, I constantly behave in line with agreed upon operating values. So that's the thing, right? I gave myself an 8. I got some 10s and a few 9s from the rest of the team. One person rated me a 5, right? I constantly behave in line with my agreed operating, like that. Our values are like good bastards and authentic and connection. I'm like, fuck, if I'm not like, if someone doesn't think I'm living our values, like I was like, oh, that requires a bit of soul searching.
Well, yeah, although to be fair, sometimes you would sell your grandmother.
I'm starting to think that you're the low-rated guy.
I'm not, but I do know who it is.
Okay.
No, but do you know what I'm saying? Like, you are really in line, and then sometimes you're like, but you do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're a gambler.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes. Like, this is good. And again, once I calmed down the next day and read through it, and I was, you know, and the other thing is afterwards, I went and looked at what I gave myself in these, because I was just fixated on other people's low ratings, and they were pretty close to what I'd rated myself. Anyway, okay.
Can we just make one observation though? The range of people that you ask to rate you have a vast difference, don't they? Like, some of them, their only contact is with you and not other CEOs. Other people in the group have a huge amount of contact with very high level CEOs. So their perception of what a CEO should do and where they should be at could be entirely different.
Yes.
Just making that observation, that's all.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to read some other ones.
Go on, because this is fun. I should have brought my popcorn.
So the line is, I'm available and responsive to people's problems. Got a 3. So here's one that really kind of got to me. I represent the team well to other internal individuals and external groups. I represent the team well to other internal individuals and external groups. 10s across the board. One person was a 7. I was like, okay. I lead the team in the search for a shared vision for the future. 7 and 8s across the board and 1 3. I plan for changes. 6 and 7s across the board, 1 1. I communicate high expectations of other performances. All 7s and 1 2. I focus on the critical success factors of the business. Someone rated me a 3. It sort of goes on, right? So here's why I think it's important, because my business is so different to everyone else's, right? Everyone else has a bunch of direct report in the group.
Yeah.
Me and Shay, like, we're through everything in this, and the rest of them see bits and pieces of it. Yeah. So I guess if I'm totally honest, I was spending most of my time trying to work out if it was Shay.
Yeah, you did. Because I got messages going, was it Shay? If it's Shay, I've got a big problem. We need to decide if it's Shay or not.
Because
I got a picture of the spin halfway through the spin.
Yeah, because if it's Shay,
we've got a
problem. It's someone else now, you know. So that was where the spin came. And funnily enough, I haven't actually spoken, because he's been away, I've been away. We literally just saw each other 30 minutes ago for the first time in like a week and a half. So I actually haven't spoken to him about it. So I'm still not sure.
There was a discussion last week with a few of us that said, even if we said it wasn't Shay, we don't know that you'd believe us. Yeah. I love this concept of responsibility, or radical responsibility. So it might not be your fault, but it is your responsibility. Well, in this case, it is your fault, because you actually asked people what they thought. But it's that real classic thing between reaction versus response. So, you know, your initial reaction was to totally go into a spin. Even though on the whole everyone rated you above what you rated yourself, you still went into a spin.
Yeah.
So interesting.
I know. And I knew I was in it, and I just
You were in it.
I couldn't get out. And I did. Like, to be fair, I moved out of it. I was in there for an hour.
Yep.
And then I moved out of it.
It was a bit long. He's been a bit generous on himself. What time did you get the report?
I don't know, about 30 minutes before I messaged you.
Oh, bullshit. That's about half a day. Okay. So what did you learn from it?
Well, it certainly made me think about all the different components of leadership, and which ones I do naturally well and which ones I need to put more effort into. You know, the structure of the week I sort of put as my own weakness, and like keeping people accountable and making sure people understand their jobs. I actually think I've gotten a lot better at it since the OMP course started, but there's still room for improvement.
I would... Yeah, I'm going to agree with you there.
Yeah.
Not about, I think you have improved out of sight.
Yes.
out of sight. You are now making decisions with you and Shay. You just get on with them and make them, and like really, really good decisions without having to go and ask people.
Yeah.
That's been the biggest significant shift. I think sometimes you're forgetting that you're not telling some of us what's going on. It's like, might need an update every now and then because you're just getting on with it.
And that's right too. I think my default position would have been, and if I go back 6 months ago, run everything past you and Maddie.
100%.
And ask for what I should do here, what you would recommend. And now I still do occasionally just to check in, but I feel a lot more confident in my decision making, which is the whole thing, right? You've got to grow up.
Those big boy hunties are going on every morning.
Yeah. In terms of my emotional intelligence, my self ratings and others were all quite aligned. Biggest difference was social skills. Others rated me 1.5 points higher than I did, which I thought was interesting. So that was kind of like day one. And then the whole thing, the centerpiece of OMP is based around the middle day in block 3, which are the panels.
Can we just roll back for 2 seconds?
Yeah.
What did you learn from this one particular exercise? The 360.
What did I learn from it? I don't know. I kind of learned. I just kind of had a better understanding of all the different components of leadership, really, and became aware of some things that I hadn't really considered and weren't on my radar.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sure more than that.
Do you think you feel more confident about your leadership style now?
Yes, I do, but I don't think that had anything to do with the results of this. That was more linked into the panel stuff where we actually got to look under the hood of, and we got to hear from the other business owners and what they were going through, and realized that, first of all, not everyone has their shit figured out. There's a lot of things a lot of people don't know, and how, we're actually in a pretty decent place.
I want to come back to the 360 for 2 seconds though. There's quite a bit of feedback in here, like comments and things like that. Have you been through that feedback, and have you decided whether any of it's valuable or not?
No, I haven't. We finished this on Friday, and I went to the beach for 2 days with my family. Yeah. And this is Monday morning, right? So I have not, and I don't think, and that's part of the OMP, the fallout too, is you get a lot of information, a lot of good stuff, but it's how much actually sticks, and how do you put time into thinking about what you've learned? And I haven't really done that yet. We're kind of live. Yeah. Processing this at the moment.
I do love the idea of you going back and reading the whole report again and reading how to respond to the feedback first, because I think that what they've got here is very valuable. Do you agree with the feedback point? Do you want to do something about it? I think that would be really beneficial if you grab a highlighter and literally go through and go, does this feedback feel relevant, or do I feel like I've moved on, or what are the bits that I'd like to do something about? Because I think that I'd hate to see this report just be kind of about the spin, where actually there could be some gold in here around self-reflection for you.
Yeah.
But also I think that part of this is, do I agree with the feedback? Because as you said before, people only see a certain amount. And also we've had some very robust conversations about what next year might look like and some of those things. So, you are constantly open to learning and, stepping things up. But I wouldn't want you to kind of park it just yet. I think it does deserve an hour of your time over a coffee with a highlighter going, here's some things I might take on board.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
It is. It's until you had said that, I wouldn't have done that.
Yeah, I know.
I would have just moved on to the next thing and think that I got something from it when I probably did.
Yeah.
You didn't?
Yeah. And super interesting, because this is your strength and your weakness. Your strength is that, man, you can go knee deep into, reacting to it, but actually there's some really good learnings in this. And, without trying to figure out who the person is that did this or who the person is that did this. Apparently my comments are really obvious, and I looked at them, I was like, oh yeah, that's definitely me. That's definitely me. I should have ChatGPT giveaways. Does that, because I think that these can be very valuable, but I would say if you've ever had a 360, I think they can make or break people, is my opinion. They can absolutely destroy people if you don't have the right attitude around the fact that, you know, you're not going to please everyone all of the time. And especially in a CEO type position, you literally are never going to please everybody. In leadership type roles. But I do think that this would be worth re-looking at and deciding what you might want to sort of take on the chin and learn from. Yep,
100%. And yeah, funny, across the group, the similar, like there was always, one sort of dissenting voice that occupied the thought space of everyone afterwards. And that, And the point that I would make is that your greatest strength is also your greatest weakness. So if there's anything in here that you think, I might want to work on that, the flip side to it is that it is probably your greatest strength. Like your greatest strength is that you're just like, next. You know, I can do anything. Next. And it's like, whoa, let's just take a breath. Listen to what the people are telling you, Steve.
Yeah, and actually decide for yourself if it's important. Yeah. I've done one of these, like more of a person profile analysis, and one of the things in it is that as a coach, I don't have a huge amount of desire to go in there and do it for people, and so it's not normal that my personality is a coach, but actually I think it's my greatest strength. So, you know, a lot of coaches are like, they're really, really invested in their people, and while I'm invested, I do not believe that it's my job to do it for anybody. And so, you know, I believe in support and challenge, not just support. So my greatest strength is also my greatest weakness, and that some people think that I'm too blunt. It's like, that's nice.
They say that? I can't believe that, Di.
I can't imagine it. But anyway, I do not know what they're saying. Make sense?
Yep.
Great.
Right. I want to talk about our panels, but before then, we've got a listener question brought to you. I know this is your favourite part of the episode, Di. So brought to you by Xero, your business supercharge.
I just love Xero, though.
The question is, what's the one thing you still do yourself that everyone tells you to outsource?
What's yours?
Research for the podcast. Research for our guests. And we had toyed with outsourcing, and we tried outsourcing it, and then I realized it was the most important thing that we do, and that is actually the difference. It's actually our eye on hearing a million different things and deciding which ones, you know, the editorial judgment on it. We haven't taken steps to help with it, but Shay and I still try. Like, that takes up a big portion of our time and week, but we're holding on to it for now. Everyone says outsource it. I'm not so sure. Yeah. What about you?
I only do two things in my business. So I have, this year I've outsourced everything. I've got a cleaner at home. At work, I've got an EA that looks after all my bookings and now looks after all of my the sales part of things. Like when people first communicate with me, she does all my calendar, she does all my travel, she does all my contracts, she does all my client journey stuff. So I only do two things in my business, and pretty much I have those two things written down. And if they're not that, then I pretty much don't do it. So I've got two people that work with me, and I can't think of anything else I'd outsource.
Good way to be.
It has been a process though, and we're not entirely there yet, but it's a process.
Thanks to the legends at Xero for that one. Try free for a 30-day trial, then decide which plan best suits your business.
We love Xero. I love Xero.
So the other... I'd say the centerpiece of the OMP is the middle day of the middle block, and we go away and we produce these business profiles, which we spend 3 or 4 weeks on, and we talk about them with some external panelists and some group members. So this was I don't say I enjoyed it. I enjoyed completing it. So we put together, I put together a business profile. So it had our purpose and our vision and our values and our history and ownership and operational structure and product and market analysis, ABC analysis, SWOT analysis, overall strategic position, and what keeps us awake at night. And it was really cool because we had worked on a lot of these things throughout the year in our advisory, but sort of like bringing it together, having it as a live document. We had like SB started with us last week. I was able to share that with us, history and background and what we're trying to achieve. It was really cool having that together. And then we bring it into these small groups. I quite like this. And at the bottom of the business profile, it has what keeps us awake at night. Which is, you've got all these words, but like, what's the real thing? What's the real thing going on here? I want to read some of ours. There's some I won't read because they're a little bit sort of commercially sensitive. But so what keeps me awake at night is sickness, injury, loss of interest / change of heart for me or Seamus. We haven't really talked about where we could go with this. What is possible? Could be a missed opportunity of not dreaming bigger. And the thought that the hamster wheel of content creation never stops. And when it does, we stop making money. And then some stuff about sponsorship and strategic partners and security for next year. But those kind of like writing that down and sort of articulating like, we're on this wheel and it's going great. But when we stop, it all stops, was quite interesting for me to kind of get out and share with people.
Yeah. What do you think the antidote to that is?
Well, I think of solutions to make money in other ways. So if it does stop, I'll be okay.
The other thing also is, and I think we've talked about this a couple of times, is that you guys have a very specific type of business. It's more of a practice than it is a business because, as you said, because you're the talent in this particular business and with speaking and everything else, it's really important to identify that. And so naturally in practices, what you want is you want to make very, very good money and then take that cash out of the business and put it into some assets that are going to look after you.
Yes.
And I think we're not quite at that level yet, but it's something that we need to be very mindful of and work towards, because that lifestyle creep, it would be really easy to just keep going, oh, look, I earn more money and I spend it as well, and it's okay because we're doing so well. But then you're not actually paying yourself, or you're not looking after the future version of yourself.
Yeah, I think it's really good. I think it's a really good point, because to change the mindset from survival to we're actually doing this to use the money that we're going to make to set up the future. I've never been there before.
No.
It's never been something I've had to think about because I've never been making excess money.
Yeah, and I think you're definitely at that point now where we need to start thinking about it. And so it's not just we want to earn more money because we want to earn more money. It's actually because you have a certain amount of sort of life in this type of role. And I'm not saying it can't go on for 20, 30 years, but it's like you do need to guard against that. And I think that ultimately it gives you freedom in the future. And I think the more freedom you have, you're more likely to do it for longer because you're not pressured on the hamster wheel all the time.
Yeah.
But also, I think it's a really key point for when we set up our meeting for next year for, what does 2026 look like? I think this is the type of thing that we have to start factoring in, because we need to start factoring in, that sort of greater expectation of money, because it needs to be put aside to look after you in the future.
Yes.
The other thing that is really important, I think, is that you go from a desire energy. So like you've gone from this energy of wanting to work in the podcast full time, like it was only like 2 years ago that you had a full-time job. So you go from this wanting, pushing, goal-orientated, I'll be happy when, all of that type of energy. And now I feel like you're in a different space where it's almost like, actually, it's time to work smarter and allow. You've got all of these great results. You've got all of these great, data coming through on listenership and all of that stuff. Instead of just pushing, it's kind of like actually take a breath, allow, and actually be quite smart about it going forward.
Yeah, and that's what came through in the panel. Is it's great having outside people hear where you're at and see your finances and give you their feedback. And it was like, you guys are undervaluing yourself in areas. Like exactly what you're saying, your window is now. Like you're the number one podcast in New Zealand. You've got this audience now. Be really clever, but monetize. Like this is your window. You don't know how long it will last. Like let's make sure we really attach it. It's like brand. Your brand is strong. Be really clear about the strategic decisions you're making with it, what you say yes to and what you say no to, because brand is the most important thing.
And what you say no to is more important than what you say yes to. It's like that, it's at a really critical point. And I think that's one thing that we've been sort of just humming around this year is like that brand positioning for next year, which I think is super exciting. But it's also, you are doing very well, and we don't want other people's expectations of what good looks like to be your expectations.
Yeah. So I want to talk about what I saw as well and I think I probably got more from hearing about other people's businesses than I did from the feedback on mine. But I got a lot from it. So four other business owners, very different to mine, 50 times bigger than mine in some cases, but like in totally different industries. But man, similar problems, like diverse group of businesses, similar problems. And seeing under the hood was so interesting to me because I think, again, like I always thought bigger is better. Oh, the revenue. And you have a look at some of the numbers and you're like, oh man, bigger isn't necessarily better. Like some really complex, difficult situations and problems that come with growth. You never know what someone is going through until you actually see inside their business. And
I think we had a conversation just before this because you put together that business, what was it called? With all the data, which you did an amazing job of. And you said to me, I don't think I'm all over the numbers. And I said, sweetie, that's because you don't have to be, because the numbers are really, really simple. I said, you've got a cash flow business. It's not complicated. And I don't think you believed me. And then after you had this panel, you were like, whoa, their numbers are like, it's like really complicated. I was like, yes, that's called a product-based business.
Yeah. You make such a strong connection with the other, like we divided into these small groups.
Yep.
And when people share, like we had like 90 minutes on each person, you're talking about it, everyone's giving you feedback, and you're kind of like locked in now
you're
for
bonded,
the rest of the course.
Yeah.
And it's so cool. And there's so much value in these like little aha moments you pick up. Like one person realized they were paying way too much for their accountant, probably saved the cost of the course on that.
Yeah.
By having someone looking through and saying, actually, which you wouldn't know otherwise, you just think is normal if you're not talking to people. Some big issues with like balance sheets that would 100% have led to like long-term problems if left unchecked. Again, if you're using the same people, you do it the same way, you're just not going to figure it out. But mostly it was like how talking to people like helps you deal with your shit. And I felt like I was the most advanced in this because I think the best, I've said it a million times.
That's scary.
The best decision we made was getting you and Maddie in this advisory 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Because what we experienced in that was kind of what we had been doing every quarter. So for others, it was the first time people had been looking inside and they've been sharing stuff and getting advice because they don't have advisors. And so the value of that, just what they got from that session was with like 5 advisors, 2 probably better than the rest, but it's such value. And I sort of spoke to a bunch of them afterwards, like, you don't know what you don't know. So you don't know how you should be thinking about these problems and how to tackle them.
Which is super interesting because one of the things we talk about is being an accidental business owner. And one of the things that I would say about accidental business ownership is just the fact that you don't tend to have the people around you that are having these conversations. So you knew that was the case for you guys, so brought in that conversation.
I had some takeaways, but I think we've kind of covered it in here. The other thing, so our facilitators were Greg Boyd from Frank HQ and Deb Shepherd. So both are we had such good sort of chemistry and energy in the group, and they were awesome. But one thing Greg said at the end was that our mission and values and purpose were some of the best he's seen.
Aww.
And I was like, oh, that's so. He's like, did Di and Maddie help you with these? And I said, yeah, they did actually. Like, yeah, okay. But I thought
it was painful.
It was painful, and I want to read them out because it was so painful.
I love that.
And because I struggled with it so much to know what good looked like with these examples.
And I remember when we did it, you were just like, but how important could this possibly be? And it's like, well, it's really important because it just keeps you affirming that you're going in the right direction.
Yeah, how important is it? When someone rates me low on if I'm living our values, I fucking lose my shit.
That's how important it is.
It's the most important thing. Yeah, so I'm going to read them. So our purpose, to improve the lives of our listeners through storytelling. Our vision, we are New Zealand's most trusted storytellers. Our values, good bastards. So we're authentic, we're trusted, we're respected, we do what we say we will. Connection, it's with our audience, with guests, with sponsors. Ambassadors, which is our community is engaged. And authentic, being the best part of someone's day. And what we do, we are storytellers. We share our stories and help amplify the stories of others. This comes in the form of public podcasts, keynote speaking, live event emceeing, capturing private stories for families and business stories.
Two things. When you reflect on your 360, I want you to think about the place that people come from with you. And I think that if people give you feedback and they give you honest feedback, it's because they know that there's more in you. And I think that you'll look back in 5 years' time and go, oh my Lord, I had such confidence and I really didn't have a clue.
Definitely.
Yeah, do you know what I'm saying though? And so if other people do have more of a clue, they're it's almost like they might see you, I reckon if I was to overall rate you as a CEO, I'd probably give you a 2 or a 3.
It was you.
No, it wasn't. I must have been nice that day. I do know who it was though. So my point is that I'd probably give you a 2 or a 3 because, and that would have been pre-OMP. Okay, I'm probably at maybe a 4 or a 5 now, but that's because also I know where you're going.
Yep. So
you're not there yet. You're not even close. And so I'd love you to look at your 360 not from they're rating me good, bad or indifferent, but from an attitude of what are the bits that I can take from it, that I can learn and grow and be the best version of myself.
Yeah.
Now, second thing I just want to cover off before we round this off, the investment in OMP, I think personally, from what I've seen of you, you said that somebody probably saved their course and, accountant's fees. I think in sales, you probably made up that money in 2 months.
Yeah.
I really do. Just in the first 2 months of you having started OMP, I reckon you have, probably gained sales of probably 3 times that amount. So it's a really investment and cost. I know that it's tight out there, but I always look at it and think, man, imagine if we had have sent you on that last year. Imagine where we'd be now.
Yeah.
It's always that thing of, I think the thing that people would generally regret is not having done it earlier.
Yeah. And just to add, I agree with that. And to add to it, the people on the course, it attracts a certain type of person, right? Yeah. Driven and ambitious and go-getters. You're owning and managing these businesses are such legends, all of them. The hardest thing is with 22 is you can't get around and sort of have chats with all of them to a
the
depth
same
that
degree.
You want to.
Yeah.
But I would say the first block, I wasn't really sure about it. Second block, it was a really busy time of life. I was like, how am I going to find the time? But after this third, I'm really looking forward to the fourth and the fifth, connecting with the people because it all gets stronger. You're away and you're all learning together. You've got a storyline to follow with other people's businesses that you've seen their issues and see how they're dealing with it. So yeah, it's a vibe.
Love it. Love your work.
Till next time.
Till next time.